truly color, if you think about water, water is transparent. So if water is favorable for you, you should not wear anything because it's transparent. Or if water is bad for you, would you stop taking a shower and stop drinking water? Hey guys, in this short video, I want to talk about something really elementary when it comes to metaphysics, in particular Bazi or Feng Shui or Qi, which is the 5 elements. Now, it's easy to sometimes forget that some of the most fundamental things or concepts, such as the 5 elements, are it's actually very important to know, but we tend to forget that it's important for beginners. So if you are an absolute beginner in the journey of metaphysics, meaning you are interested in learning Chinese astrology, which is Bazi, or Ziwei, which is purple star astrology, or Qi Dunjia, or Feng Shui, then the basic understanding of the 5 elements are important. Now, let's start off with understanding what is and isn't 5 elements in the first place. So when we look at, let's say, a person's destiny chart, which is the astrology chart, a person's elements are determined. The balance between these 5 elements. Now, these 5 elements are reflected in every human life form. Okay, so it's a question of how much or less that you're originally born with, and how these frequencies change over time, and that's how Chinese astrology is structured. So what we need to do is give meaning to these 5 things, and then generally a picture or story about that person's intellectual capacity and abilities and inner gifts and how they interact with other human beings will be formed. It's pictorial in that sense. So one of the misconceptions is people might think that these are actual physical elements. While they draw their so-called inspiration from physical elements, but they are not actually physical elements. In fact, this, when it comes to astrology, this actually represents the 5 major planets, with fire star being Mars, and wood element or wood star being Jupiter, water is Mercury, metal is Venus, and earth is Saturn. So of course, back in ancient China, when the elements were used as reference to the 5 planets, they don't have the English names, right? But today we know the English names, so it's generally the same thing. But here's the misconception with a lot of people, is that they must be physical elements. So fire is actually the fire burning, and then wood is just all the trees and the big tree logs, and earth is all the sand and rocks and so forth. While it's easy to see it that way, but this is one form of that representation of the elements, but it's not the actual form. So now, which leads me to the next part, which is where a lot of people think that in astrology, if you're let's say the water element is weak, you need to increase the water element by wearing blue color, for example, because blue color is the color of that 5 elements. Or if metal is weak in your chart, then you need to surround yourself with gold chains, because the gold chains will increase the metal element. It's not, because it's not really the physical element. If you think about colors, for example, right? Is blue really the color of water? It's representing water, but it's actually not the real vibrational energy of water. So if but truly color, if you think about water, water is transparent. So if water is favorable for you, you should not wear anything because it's transparent. Or if water is bad for you, would you stop taking a shower and stop drinking water? Not possible, right? So the color is not. So how do you actually incorporate elements into a person's Bazi or Feng Shui if the physical element is not what we're referencing? Some people say, oh, earth, just use crystal because crystal is earth. The actual reference is the direction where the certain cosmic direction or orientation of the earth in relation to other constellations, the certain direction had that vibrational energy of, let's say, fire, earth, water, and so forth. So it's by aligning to that direction that increases the elements or decreases a certain element. And also time, because in different periods of time, now time is a very human thing, okay? It's because we're alive, we reference time, yeah? The moment you're not alive anymore, you don't need time anymore because you're obviously not living in this world, right? So the time refers to different periods of time, different year, different months. We do certain things, activities. Okay, activities at a certain period of time, such as changing your house structure, orientation, movement, or different usage of the room, or doing a certain activity in a different period of time. That itself, it's activating and incorporating the 5 elements. Even meditating, and some people do prayers, but you can do meditation or self-cultivation in certain time and direction that increases or decreases the elements. That's where the balance comes in. So it's not so much the physical element. So if not, you think about, if fire is good for you, would you burn down one part of your room? Impossible, right? Or just dress like Santa Claus every day in the house? It's not possible. So it's not so much the physical. I know this sounds like it's against all the previous 5 element theory that you ever know, because it's about, I thought it's about painting the room red and having the room yellow color or green color and all that. Colors it's better for interior designers. While they do affect generally how the room look and feel to a person, but if you truly talk about metaphysics, like you talk about the true science itself, this 5 is the movement of planets, is the movement of vibrational energies. And so the reference point is activity, orientation, and time. That's what influences the actual 5 elements. So for a beginner, remember, you don't really need to so-called balance it by physical items. So it's not about dressing in blue and then increasing the lucky colors and all that. That's very elementary design, but elementary idea, but it actually doesn't really affect the actual outcome at all. So it's always direction and activity in what period of time. That's how 5 elements are used in feng shui or in Bazi or in any forms of metaphysics.
Check inside the description for the link.